towards university tuition is between 18,000 to 18,500 pounds. It has a discount of 1,500. What this implies is as soon as your offer arrives, you'll be given an automatic scholarship of 1,500 rather, and your deposit, the deposit for this school is 4,000 pounds, and there is 50% on enrollment. When I mean 50% on enrollment, I've said it before, but I didn't explain. Now, what I mean by 50% on enrollment is that if your school fees is 18,000 pounds and you are able to pay and you make a deposit of 4,000 pounds, we'll be left with 14,000 pounds. Now, when we divide 18,000 by 2, it's 9,000. Having paid the first deposit of 4,000, you will be left with 5,000. So in order for you to enroll for your course or register as a student, you will have to pay a balance of 5,000. So when you add the 5,000 to the initial deposit you made, which is 4,000, you've made payment of 50% of your school fee. All right. So another is the University of Dundee. University of Dundee is in Scotland, and the tuition ranges from 15,000 to 19. When your school fees is actually 19, you'll be given an a scholarship or an automatic scholarship of 5,000 pounds. That brings the school fees down to 15, 14, depends on what your school fees is anyway, but there is always 5,000 pounds discount or scholarship. Now the deposit for Dundee is 5,000 pounds, and Dundee does not require 50% on enrollment, meaning no one will ask you to pay 50% of your school fees before you register or enroll as a student. All right. And Dundee has up to 5 installments, 5 to 7 installments. After the first month of the enrollment, you have 5 to 7 installments. And another is Coventry. Coventry is another school that is very open for January intake, and its tuition falls between 17,900 to 20,000 pounds. And here the discount or scholarship is not same for everyone. So it's usually at the discretion of the school. So for some people, they are lucky they could get 2,000. For some people, 1,500. For some persons, 1,000. But yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please go on.
Okay. So for Coventry, the first deposit is 4,000, and then the second deposit is also 4,000, and then the last payment is whatever balance you get after paying the first and second 4,000, 4,000, the course. Now, there is also the University of Bedfordshire, which is available for January intake. University of Bedfordshire has its school fees, which ranges from 13,000 pounds to 15,000 pounds. And then there is a discount of 1,000 pounds. Deposit is 65% of the tuition. Yeah. But one good thing about Bedfordshire is that it has up to 7 installments. So it has 7 installment plan, meaning you are allowed to pay your school fees 7 times. However, the first deposit is 65% of the school fees. There is the Montfort. The Montfort University has its tuition between 15,100 pounds to 17,000 pounds. And it has a discount of 1,500. However, there is 50% deposit. So if your school fees is 15,100, what it implies is that you're going to make 50% payment. Also, the Montfort has 2 installments after enrollment, meaning after the first 50% is paid, you have 2 more payments to make before your school fees is cleared off. So this is all for this. There are other schools. The list is quite inexhaustible. Like I said earlier, there are over 100 of them, but I just had to use these 8 as to make my illustration. All right. So the programs that are available for January intake, we have a list of them. Business administration, there is the tech. From the tech, we have computer science, we have data analytics, we have medical courses, sorry, health-related courses like the public health, we have nutrition, we have healthcare management, we have adult nursing, we have even the peer nursing too is also available. So there are a list of courses, quite a number of them are available for January intake. If you're interested in any of this, kindly send a GM to our counselors. They would help you with that. All right. Agatha, next slide, please.
Okay, that will be me. I'm gonna take it from here. Happiness.
Okay.
Happiness.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Confirm if you hear.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, maybe you should just go ahead then. Go ahead.
All right. So for popular undergraduate and postgraduate courses for international students, we have from the business and management department, there is the finance, there is marketing, there is entrepreneurship courses, there is business administration, there is business management. Now, one thing about business and management courses, I love them because they are so free. Anybody can actually apply. It's one of the easiest course one can actually go for. By nature, man is just a business creator. We're all business minded. In as much as you're able to liken your statement of purpose and your CV that you've done things related to business, why not you be accepted to do this course? All right. So for this course, be it that you graduated with an education degree, you graduated with or you graduated from social sciences, you graduated from humanities, graduated from the sciences, in as much as you're able to actually prove to the admission officers that you have a business, you've got a business, or you've done things related to business, you would be admitted, right? And then we have the engineering faculty. So for the engineering faculty, there are courses like civil engineering, there is petrochemical engineering, there is mechanical engineering, and then a lot of them. So for this, it's actually available for January intake. If you're interested in this, kindly send a GM. Our counselors are there to attend to you. And then we have the medicine and then the health related. Now for medicine, undergraduate students might not, or a student who just graduated from secondary school might not really be able to go direct into medicine except they pass through the foundation. Yeah, except they pass through the foundation, and then after doing the foundation program, they could go into their desired university, stay in the UK there, and then study medicine. All right. Then for nursing, we have the peer nursing, and then we have the adult nursing. Students are allowed to study nursing, but for undergraduates, except you have an O-level of ONG, then for postgraduate students, if you do not have your first degree in nursing as a graduate student, you might not really get an offer for peer nursing, except you go for an adult nursing, right? So there's a little discrepancy between the adult nursing and peer nursing. So if you have your first degree in nursing, you could actually continue in that line. And then if you do not and you want to study nursing, the best course for you would be adult nursing. Okay, so there is pharmacy, there is public health, and then there is biomedical sciences and sciences. All right. So biomedical sciences is also one of the health related courses. All right, where we have the microbiology, we have the med lab, and the likes. Some of these people could actually work in factories. Some can work in companies like the oil producing companies. Some could work in refineries. Some could work in hospitals. Some could even work in the lab. So there are jobs for you if you study biomedical sciences, and there are lots of courses under it as well. All right. The next slide, please. Providence, confirm you could hear me. All right. Another course again is from the Department of Computer and Information Technology. This is the tech. This course is very lucrative in the sense that when one graduates from this, one can actually get, it's easier for you to get a job. There are remote jobs. Every company needs a tech person. So from this course, we have courses like
Sorry,
AI.
can anybody hear me? Sorry, can anybody hear me? Sorry for like cutting you short, Mrs. Happiness. I'm really sorry. Sorry, ma, but like what I just want to like buttress is sorry, ma, is there any course like any university on here that offers like full admission, like a scholarship, like a full scholarship? Because like my yes, like because my parents don't really have $4,000. That's equivalent to like 4 million naira here. Like you get like the situation of Nigeria and everything, you understand. I don't want to say any further than that, but like I just want to know if there is any university that offers full scholarship. I'm pretty sure that's what everybody on here is like. That's what they are probably waiting to hear. That's what like I'm just saying everybody like something that is everybody's mind. Sorry, ma. I'm just
All right.
asking.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. I would actually attend to your question at the end of this um webinar. I hope you don't mind. All right.
Yes,
So let
ma.
me
Yes, ma.
continue. Yeah. I would actually attend to your question. Just kindly hold on, please. All right. Thank you. All right. So the tech courses we have computer science, we have artificial intelligence, we have data science, we have cyber security, and a host of them. I tell young people, please go into courses like this. And one of the places where you could actually study this course and get better jobs is the UK. I can attest that. I can actually assure you that, right? So one thing why you should study a tech course is because it's highly lucrative. You could do remote jobs. You could work in multinational companies, right? So you wouldn't even lack job at all. You will not lack job offers. All right. So another again is environmental and renewable energy studies. So here we have programs like the environmental science, we have the renewable energy, and then we have courses under agricultural and agricultural economics as well. And then another faculty here is economics and social sciences. So for the economics and social sciences, we have courses like economics, we have accounting, we have finance, we have sociology, we have international relations, we have political science, we have history, all right? So there are lots and lots of programs available for everybody in the UK, all right? So there are a lot of available courses for students in the UK. Now, we actually have options for you, even if the first course you study is different from what you wish to go for. We are here to guide you. Our counselors will actually guide you on how to navigate that, especially in Nigeria here, where people will study history and then you find yourself in banking sector, in the banking sector. Have you worked in the banking sector for an ample of years and you want to progress in that career, it is best you go for your postgraduate study in what you have experience on. So when that is the case, do not be scared that your offer will be rejected. Kindly GM any of the counselors. They will guide you on how to navigate that. All right. This is also applicable to most of the courses I just mentioned. Now let's go to the requirements. Before this application is made, what is the requirement? Next slide, please. So the requirements for this
Happiness.
yes,
Happiness.
yes,
Happiness.
can you hear me?
Yeah, Happiness, please hold. I'll take it from here. I'm going to invite you afterwards. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So to reiterate what Happiness has talked about so far, there are more than, the schools that the list is actually in almost endless. We have over 300 schools that are open for application. Each of these schools with a place for everyone, no matter the course that you must have studied. There is a place for you no matter the work experience you must have had. There is a place for you with these courses. And of course, these schools offer discounts for some of the schools. And being partners with a lot of these schools, we have the leverage to press out offers as fast as possible, from anywhere between 24 hours to 48 hours to about 5 days, and so on and so forth, depending on the seriousness of these students. We have what is called the fast track system for particular schools, where we can fast track your applications. All right. So before I continue, I'd like to reiterate that it's important that we ask questions at the end of this discourse, very importantly. Or you can even drop your
previous slide, sorry.
Sorry?
Could you just talk about the previous slide again? Sorry, you cut out a bit.
Okay. Thank you. You mean this one? May I have your name, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have courses. There are courses for computer science, information technology. All right, and you can get degrees in computer sciences, AI, data science, cybersecurity, and these courses are right about now very popular, considering the trend in artificial intelligence all over the world as of this time. It is also important to share with you that the UK has great technological strength in tech industry, so you would not be making mistakes in the UK. I don't know who that is. Please, can you unmute for me? Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Please. Okay, so Happiness also mentioned that we have environmental and renewable energy studies, economics, and social sciences, and the outcomes in this industry would be courses that are related to environmental science. There's environmental science management, renewable energy. The world is getting to understand the importance and the place of renewable energy, so this is a very good area to go into. All right, so we also talked about economics. That's in the field of economics and social science courses, international relations. The world could use more of international relations right now for businesses, for economy, and the quality of the world system. Have I been able to explain what you asked, please? Hello? Hello?
Say that again.
So I hope you've been able to get what I explained. Can I?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So, but if anyone has questions, please leave them in the chat box. So we're trying to, ensure that we have an organized session, and then we also save your time as much as ours. Thank you. All right, so entry requirements for international students. We know that without your degree, your transcript, that's your degree certificate and your transcript, one of the other important things would be your essay, which is your SOP, statement of purpose. You will not be able to make a successful application. So here we have enlisted the academic requirements. Your degree certificate. In case you are yet to get your degree certificate, you could actually apply using your notification of results. But with that cannot give you it can't get you an unconditional offer. What you're going to get is a conditional offer. So that all of that is not helping you save time. So I would advise that you actually begin processing ahead. If you are going with general intake, for instance, you ought to have ensured that you have all your documents ready, at least 6 or 8 months before now. Everything we do in this industry is time bound, so we have to check every box when it comes to making our applications either to the UK or to any country at all. So we have the degree certificate, we have the transcript. Please know that the transcript is your official degree transcript. If you do not get your official degree transcript, that can also give you a conditional offer. And to give you a conditional offer means that they're going to take time to review it, and then they give you a conditional offer. Between the time you meet these conditions and ensure that you send the conditions back to the school has to review them. So that's all time bounded. So, and then the school reviews them and now decides whether they are okay with the documents you have submitted. Otherwise, they'll ask for additional documents or ask you to do it the right way before issuing you an unconditional offer. So you have your resume or your CV, you have the data page of your international passport, you have your YX certificate, and you have your personal statement. Now, your CV is as important as your international passport and as your SOP, because your CV shows your work experience. So your CV, as I was saying, is a document that shows that you have relevant work experience relevant to that course that you are going for, and to show that you must have had ample experience in practice relevant to your chosen course of study. So you want to pay attention to your CV. You want to ensure that it's updated. You want to ensure that you make sure it is a professional CV. So that is your selling point when it comes to your work experience. All right. So now the person who is reviewing your course would go there, haven't read your SOP and checked other documents, to go to the CV, and it is after all of these reviews that they get to decide on if you are a good fit for the course of study. Now, the data page of your international passport, once your international passport is about 6 months to expiry, it is advised that you process another one. Please process another one. It's very important to process another one. So going back to being conscious of time, understanding that getting passports, documents are not easy in Nigeria. It takes months and even weeks. So you may want to start preparing ahead of that. Agatha, if you can hear me, there's an iPhone 13 trying to come in. Please do not admit the person. Thank you. All right, so we have the YX certificate. Your YX certificate is very important in the sense that for your postgraduate study, that's where your English qualification lies in. So the accepted qualification will be from A, B to at least a minimum of C6 in English. Okay, I've spoken your personal statement. So your personal statement is an overview of your person, your personality, your global perspective, your educational experience, your work experience, why you have chosen the course, and why you have chosen that particular university, what stands it out. All right, you have to be explicit in your explanations. It's like your marketing point, and then you talk about why you have chosen the country. What are your prospects? All right. Now, over the time, the problems that students have encountered with being able to get unconditional offer at one go, apart from your personal statement, which is your essay. So in the sense that people just go online and they just lift materials without even, doing their research, making sure that they own that research, and they understand down to the T's and the I's of that particular article or material on the internet. Now, another way to do your research is to go directly to the school's website. Now, you will get ample information about the school, and it is not for you to quote verbatim the information that you are getting from the school's website, as in course modules. Yes, and this is another area. The course module is very, very important. Now, there are schools that actually conduct pre-class interview. There are a few schools that conduct pre-class interview. And if you are one of our students or intending students, it's not a problem, because we offer free tutorial and prep for all of our students. We have about 99.9% success rate when it comes to the outcome of the pre-class that our students go through. So now, in most of these cases, during your pre-class interview, they lay emphasis on the course modules. Now, when you give them the idea, it means that you have genuine reasons to come and study, because when you begin to beat about the bush during a pre-class interview or in your SOP, they just automatically believe that you do not have genuine intention. Now, one thing we should know generally in the minds of education, higher education providers, all right, is that from the UK to the US to Canada to Australia, everywhere, is that every student, international student that is coming to study right now, does not have genuine intentions. That's their default setting right now. All right, because of the things that have happened over time with, news flying of how things are being done not the right way according to the standards and the procedures that is expected of an international student to meet or to be qualified to study in these various countries. So that is their mindset. So see the SOP as your ground to prove them wrong. See the SOP as your ground to convince them that I have genuine intentions. How do I show I have genuine intentions? I have done my research and I know very well about the school, about the country, about the city that my school is, down to the restaurant, down to the landmarks that are around the place. Yes, you may not be living in the school's hostel with accommodation. It is important that you know at least one or two. Know there is a library. How much was used in funding that library? How world class is this library? So informations like this, what is the distance between your accommodation to the school? So informations like this is what tells them that you are a genuine student. And then you come to why you have chosen the course. In why you have chosen the course, it ought to have a relevance to your future career path and to where you are coming from. You have to find a way. So you draw out a motivation or an inspiration as to why you are deciding to, choose that.
What will we do? One, either you surrender or you fight for your freedom till death.
Okay, so I was taking a little bit time because it's been a problem. It's not rocket science. Basically, it's not rocket science. A lot of students get stuck when it comes to writing of their SOP. It is not rocket science at all. As a matter of fact, it is fun and exciting, and it's a very beautiful journey when it comes to writing SOPs. So another thing that we do is that we offer free guidance services to our students. Now, a student is expected to actually show us a draft of, their personal statement, or even if you do not have a draft, let's know where you are at on the knowledge of, writing an SOP, or in general, piecing your documents together. So at the end of this webinar, you may want to send DMs. There are counselors, around. There are counselors that can attend to you to answer your questions, to guide you. So our guidance services are totally free. So I'm going to move forward very quickly. Okay, so and that is we are on the application procedures as of now. Now a lot of students just wake up and just say, oh, I want to apply, because everybody is applying to go study at one country, let's say the UK or the US, for instance. Actually, there are thoughts and there are procedures that should be put in place for you to, begin. First of all, you do research. I spoke about that earlier. You carry out your research so that you have information, ample information. It is what you know that you can give. All right. It is actually what you know you can give. If you don't know it, you can't give it. So you have to do your research. Okay, which country do I want to go to? Why should I choose this country over this country? And then you make a short list of the universities that are available in, this the region that you must have chosen, or the country you must have chosen to study. So having made a short list, you can now choose based on your preference, your budget. There are so many things that actually informs the application process. Now, that's why when you come to us as an agency, we ask you certain questions. Those questions are to help us guide you to choose the best fit for your needs. For instance, you have a need of studying a particular course. You have a need of furthering your education. And you have a reason why you should further your education in that field. All right, so we've seen students who just come say, oh, I want to do MPH, that's Masters of Public Health. And the first question that comes to mind is, do you have relevant qualification? What's your previous course of study and your work experience? So that's just what it means. So when you answer those questions, it's like you meet a doctor and the doctor asks you, do you feel pain here? Do you feel? And then they automatically give you a preliminary diagnosis before even conducting a major test on you. All right. So a lot of time when they ask you those questions, it's because they are trying to decipher where to begin. They're trying to decipher what fits you. So that is the same case here. So it's not just okay to study Masters of Public Health because, yeah, everybody study Masters of Public Health, or because it has, huge advantage in global health. All right. And of course, a huge development as in for a person and career-wise. Now, it is for you to understand, am I a fit for this course? Do I have all it takes to apply for this course? Now, there are courses that are very specific and strict with their requirements. Those are the health engineering courses, science courses generally. They are very strict. If you do not have certain grades, you do not have certain experiences, you will not be able to proceed with that. And if you go ahead not knowing all these exceptions, you go ahead and apply on your own, you'll be denied, and you're wondering now what happened. So that's why you need to speak to an academic advisor or a student counselor, and they'll be able to bridge the gap between you and the knowledge of these things. So moving forward, having gathered the documents that we have listed in the previous slides, application is to be put in. You put in an application. I'll give you the bits of that, but that's our job to do. And then once you apply, you are to wait anywhere from 24 hours, as I said earlier, to 48 hours to 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the school. You have to wait for a decision. Once you get a decision, the decision comes either in conditional or unconditional. So now, some people have asked the question, what's the difference between conditional and unconditional offer? But they are both offers. Yes, I agree. They are both offers. Now, your conditional offer means that I have given you an offer, but however, so that's what it means. I've given you an offer, but you need to give me this and this and this. Oh, your CV is not updated, you need to update it. I need a wire scratch card to be able to verify that your WIPE results are authentic. So cases like this, these are conditional offers. Until you meet these offers, you are not getting an unconditional offer. So it is not just for you to meet these conditions, it is also for you to accept the offer. So when you accept the offer, you are sending a message to the school, oh, I am willing. Because each department has a particular slot for the number of students that they want. So once a student does not accept the offer, it is taken automatically as, okay, this one is tentative. So they will give the slot to the one that has accepted and the one that is ready. And another way to show that you are ready is to pay your tuition fee. Now, take for instance, I come to your store and I say I want to buy a shoe. All right, and then you give me all the information that I needed. You sell the shoe to me by word of mouth. I said, okay, please keep it. I'm going to come back to get it. Now, in another 5 minutes or 10 minutes, another person comes and says, how much is this? And just gives you cash. I'm sure you are not going to bother explaining to that person that, oh, there's somebody that came, the person is going to, you sell it sharply off the market. So that's the same thing with this, with schools, which you'll be able to make decisions very fast. So when you have met the conditions, you have to follow up on the school. That's our part to do. We follow up on the schools, and thankfully we have, you know, a partnership with one of most of the best schools in almost every country. So that's not a problem. So we follow up until the offer is gotten or is issued. All right. So once you get that, you go ahead and pay your tuition. Now there are cases where you can pay your tuition, even though it can be stated on your offer letter that you may. That's why they use the word, you may not pay your tuition until you have received the unconditional offer, because there are chances that you will not be able to supply certain documents. For you know, you don't have power over that. So in that case, can everybody hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, all right, thank you. I appreciate it. So as I was saying, once you in that case, when you know you do not have power, it is totally dictated by the Nigerian immigration, right? So you may not go ahead to pay your tuition. But when it is a case like sending an updated CV or giving me a recommendation, all right? Right, like your recommendation is also another requirement. That is either academic recommendation or professional recommendation letter. So it is a place where your teacher, if it is academic, your HOD, your library person, the secretary of your department, they can reference you. That is to say that, oh, we know this student is from a session. Now, the importance of this is that they want to get to know the student as it pertains to the institution that they went to. They want the school to be able to verify. So when you're speaking with your lecturers or anyone that is giving you this reference, they have to explain. It doesn't have to be bulky. They have to convince the school, because in some cases they send it back, it is not satisfactory. All right. So it has to be on a letterhead. It has to be on a letterhead, and it has to be signed with a date on it properly. It's a formal letter, and they have to say, we know this student is of good character, is of good standing. While the student was here, the student demonstrated this and this and these skills and qualities. Please ensure you give them all the help that they need. If you need further information, please contact us. So in that case, you are putting the school's mind at rest. Okay, this is an actual student. The student was a studious one and was known by his lecturers. So the other recommendation that you need to provide is your work recommendation. So for instance, you say, I work at Nexi Concept Limited, and then you are going to school. So Nexi Concept Limited is supposed to be able to recommend you, right? Reference you. Oh, I know the student worked in this position for so and so during this time. Almost like the same idea surrounding the academic reference is what you also need to get. This is another problem that students, find difficult with. All right. So you have to ensure that you have all of these documents. And then once you have, as I was saying, if it is a minor documentation like a YX scratch card just to verify, you can go ahead and pay your tuition. So I use the illustration of a person who wants to buy a shoe. This is the case. And it is also important to note that the January intake is very short. Very, very, very short. All right. It has lots of advantages, yes, but it is very short in the sense that as we speak right now, there are already application deadlines. All right. There are deadlines for November, this November that we are in. All right. Majority of these deadlines are from the 2nd, the 3rd, until the last week of, the very month. All right. So if you are going for the January intake, you ought to have prepared. But even though you may not have prepared, it's not a problem. All you need to do is, send a DM, and you will be assigned to any of our experienced counselors, and the rest will be history. All right. So, okay. So this is the next point in our agenda. Roslyn, I don't know if you are here. Please, can you take the rest, please?
So we're going to be talking about visa requirements. My colleagues have spoken about the requirements for application and the things that you get when you study in the UK. I know someone has already also asked about scholarship, but regardless of what you are going as. If you're going as a paying student, if you're going as someone who has special scholarship or a full scholarship, you should be interested in this. After this lecture, then we'll answer about what type of scholarship opportunities are available and how to actually access them. So for the visa, it all depends on if you're going as an undergraduate or postgraduate. It's still the same process, but you have to take into account certain things. So for a postgraduate, someone going for a postgraduate degree, it can happen that you're sponsoring yourself because you have worked for a couple of years and you want to sponsor yourself, and then you have your money in your account and it flies. For an undergraduate, it's most likely that your parent or guardian is sponsoring you. But the beautiful thing about the UK is that as long as you're able to show you have the money, regardless of if it's showing in your account or your sponsor's account, then it will fly. Okay? So what do you need to apply for your visa? You need your confirmation of acceptance of studies, that is your CAS. It's a document that you receive once you have passed all checks that the school has done. My colleague has mentioned several things such as applying, getting an unconditional offer. So there's a conditional and unconditional. You need to get unconditional offer, meaning you have satisfied every need. Then you need to pay a school fees. Before then, or before this, you might be required to do an interview. It's called a pre-CAS interview. So what you do before you are issued your CAS. So if you're going to a university that requires this, then you would have to pass the interview before you're issued the document. So once you're issued the document, then you're good to go. So the next thing is you have your CAS. It has all the information that the UKVI, that's the visa officer that's going to be reviewing your documents. It has all the information that they will be looking for in your application. So what does this contain? It contains the school, the course you're going for, the level, your name, your passport details. So you need your passport details set. Your passport number has to tally. This is especially important for people who maybe applied with a passport that was almost expiring at the start of the application, because this process takes months. And by the time they want to apply for their visa, a new passport has come out, right? So if your CAS has already been gotten and then you have a new passport, you will need to inform the school to change the passport details, because your passport details on your CAS must match the passport that you actually submit for your visa. Also, your CAS is also going to include information on the documents that you have provided. So where you needed to provide certain specific documents, as long as those documents are mentioned on your CAS, you must provide them. So for instance, there are certain people that might need to provide some specific recommendations, right? So someone who is going for maybe petroleum engineering and you haven't had a direct study, maybe undergraduate petroleum engineering degree, but you have worked in a petroleum engineering firm, right? They might want that particular recommendation, and they would specifically put it on your CV that this was one of the things they considered before they gave you. If they also considered certain other qualifications, if the school required you to have something in addition to your WAEC, such as maybe a letter from your school saying you were taught in English, or a letter from your work saying that your mode of communication is English, which is not a standard document that is required by every school, they might mention it. So every document that is mentioned, be it what is generally required or be it what is specific to you, you must actually also have it. So the UKVI is going to have that document as standard, right? The next thing you're going to need next things you're going to need, of course, are your degree certificate, your transcript, your WAEC, or any form of English proof. So it might be IELTS, TOEFL, it might be any other standardized exam that the university recognizes. So for instance, a school like Birmingham City University, if your WAEC is not up to the required score, they have their own internally administered exam. also a school called University of Law has something like that. So they might administer their own personal exam to you. If you pass it, then that certificate is what you're going to be using for your visa, right? So you need your proof of English. You need your financial statements. You also need your CAS document. You're going to upload it. You also need your offer. That's your unconditional offer. You're going to upload it. Now, there might also be other documents that are peculiar to you, such as if you were married now, you upload your marriage certificate. If you were a woman and your name changed because of marriage, you upload your change of name affidavit and certificate. You upload, if you have kids, you want to upload their birth certificate so that they have it on record. If in the future you want to apply for your kids, or you apply for your kids as you're applying that very visa, then they already know that, okay, these kids belong to you and you have already reported that they were yours in the first place, right? So these are some of the documents that you are going to be needing. Okay, so once you have this, if you can hear a child's voice, my son, he was sleeping, but now he's awake, so apologies for that. So once you have all that, you fill your form, then you apply. Once you apply, you have the opportunity to pick a date to submit your biometrics. So when you your biometrics is, they're going to be taking your fingerprints and taking a picture. The picture they're going to be taking on that day will be the picture that will be on your visa, right? So they're going to take a live picture on that particular day. So in terms of the fees you would need to pay, in October 4th, it was increased from about 400 and something euro pounds to about 700 and something pounds. I don't know the exact figure. So the visa fee, 400 and something USD rather, to about 600 and something USD. I think this is the latest price here, 619. So unfortunately, the price has increased. Now you also need what you call your health IHS, International Health Surcharge. This is like an health insurance for a year, right? So if you're going to the UK, you need to pay for health insurance if you're going to study a course that is 9 months and above, right? So if you pay this, you are free to go to the hospital for anything, almost anything, not everything, but almost everything. And the price for this currently is $920. However, by January, this price is going to be increasing to maybe somewhere around 1,000 for 1,005. So if you're going to go to the UK in January, you're going to be in luck, because usually you have to apply before your start date. So you most likely be applying in November, December, or even early January. But if you're going to be applying in middle January, then you might be affected by the hike in the cost, right? So when you take your biometrics, you apply and you wait for your decision. So another requirement, or the most important requirement after getting your CAS and all this, is to have the recommended amount of money in your account, and you have to have that you have to have it present for about 28 days. You can have it in your account, like I said, or your sponsor's account. Your sponsor can be your spouse, your guardian being your parents, or your legal guardian, right? Your legal guardian. So if you're using your legal guardian, your parents, or your spouse, you need to provide a consent letter showing them that that person has consented to sponsoring you for your program. So if you have maybe one or two sponsors, you can actually combine sponsors. If you're sponsoring yourself up to an extent, and then your husband or wife is also sponsoring you up to an extent, you can also combine your self-sponsorship as well as one that's coming from a family member as well. So you need to provide a document. So what do you need to show in this document? So for 28 days, you need to have had the total balance of your school fees. So a rough calculation would be, if your school fees is, for instance, 10,000 and you have paid 2,000. If your school fees is 10,000 and you have paid 2,000, you have a balance of 8,000 pounds left. You need to show this amount on in your account. right? In addition to this, you also need to show a maintenance cost. So you are supposed, I think it's somewhere here, so that I know. Can you move to the next slide? Can you move to the next slide, please? Okay, so you also need to show a maintenance cost. So yeah, so if you're in the UK, but outside of London, you need to pay 1,023, or you need to have 1,023 pounds per year, sorry, per month for 9 months. If you're outside London, I think you need to have about 900 and something per month. I don't know the exact monthly figure. Now, for a whole month, sorry, for 9 months, this figure amounts to about 9,207 for outside of London, and then 12,006 for inside of London. So if you're studying inside London, it's expected that you're going to have higher cost of rent and higher cost for transportation and groceries. Just living cost is just more expensive. Then if you're outside of London, you're not expected to pay as much as London for rent and all that. So you need to account for 9,207. So like initially I said you have a 10,000 tuition and you've paid 2,000, so you have 8,000. And if you're going outside London, you now have an additional 9,207. So when you plus these two figures together, you have about I think 17,207 or thereabout. That is the equivalent you have to show in your account. So either in your account or your guardian's account. So once you have that or slightly above that, then you can submit it for your visa. It has to have been shown for 28 days, and then you're good to go. So a rough estimate of what you would need as a person living in the UK. So if you're living outside the UK, depending on the kind of accommodation you want to have, you can have shared apartments, either through the school hostels, shared apartments or single rooms, or you can actually have shared apartments outside of campus where you are sharing costs with a friend or someone you meet online. These things happen. So if you do that, you're going to be spending anywhere from 350 to 400 to 500 per month. This is excluding other costs that you might have to pay, such as electricity, such as internet, and whatever else that you probably need to pay on a monthly basis. But if you're going to rent an apartment for yourself, be it a 1-room, 2-room studio apartment or thereabout, you're going to be looking at anywhere from 500-600 and above, depending on the location, if it's going to be in the city center or if it's going to be outside of city center. If you're going to be farther away from your school, then you need to account for transportation. Now, transportation is going to cost you anywhere from 50 to 100 for a monthly pass. So depending on where you are and depending on how far you need to commute, you can actually get a ticket that can enable you enter trains and buses, and trams, train, buses, trams in locations that have trams. Okay, so you're covered with that. Now for your feeding, it can take you anywhere from 200 to 400 euro, 400 pounds for one person. So if you're going and maybe you have a wife or someone else, then that might actually double or an additional 50% on that amount. So it all depends on the type of food you want to eat. If you're African and you want to eat African food, it might be slightly costlier than wanting to actually eat the food that the English people eat, because it's produced there and it's sourced there, so it's slightly cheaper. So if you say maybe you want to be buying Nigerian food, so you might actually want to up this figure a tad bit. Now, what is the average tuition cost for undergrads? You're having between 10,000 to 38,000, depending on the school. So don't run because you're seeing this figure. It depends on the school. So some people want really high-end schools for middle class to high income earners, children, or people that can afford it for themselves, and then you can go for those really high schools. Now, the higher the school, the higher the money. But when you graduate from schools like that, you know that you have more options with the jobs that are available in the job market. Now, for postgraduate programs, you have around 11,000 to 45,000 per year, also depending on the school. Now, for somebody who asks about scholarship, yes, there are scholarships. My colleague Happiness had already spoken about discounts and scholarships that are available in some schools. So some schools have it as automatic depending on your grade. So if you are applying and you have a 2-1, you might get access to 1,005, 2,000 or thereabouts discount. If you have a 2-2, you might get access to 1,000 to 1,005 to 2,000 discount. If you have a first class, you can get access to such discounts or even more discount. So this is something that a lot of schools offer, especially if you're coming from the sub-Saharan African region. There are also specific scholarships that are for specific departments in specific schools. Now, these are case by case. There is nowhere you're going to say, oh, this source scholarship, and all schools are open to that scholarship. No, all schools have different focuses for their scholarships. Now, you need to, first of all, find out the school that you're interested in and what scholarship opportunities are available. There are scholarships and people actually get scholarships. So especially for people maybe who read English, who read arts and crafts, people in the medical space as well. There are lots of scholarships. So some scholarships as much as 50% of tuition, some scholarship as much as 100% of tuition. Now, and even with stipends, so you would not need to provide any documentation for your proof of funds. You will not need to provide any documentation. You just need the letter from the school saying that you have a scholarship. So the scholarship might be from the school or an external body that's affiliated with the school that is giving scholarships, right? So when you have this, the only thing you need to account for would be your visa fee. In most cases, you might need to handle your visa fee. And with the exchange rates now, it will take you around 1.5 to 1. Let's say 2 million thereabout, because everything is fluctuating, to actually apply for your visa. So if you're interested in scholarship, first of all, you need to make sure that you actually have a very good result. If you have a 2-1, your chances are higher. Then if you're going for some courses that are open for scholarships, we don't do scholarships, unfortunately, but you can actually Google it, right? And choose a specific courses, scholarship for so-and-so course in the UK. They would have the criteria you need to meet. So firstly, you need to apply. They need to, first of all, give you an admission. You need to actually be eligible for that course in the first place. So once you have applied and you have gotten an offer, be it conditional or unconditional offer, then you apply for the scholarship. So the scholarship might be to write an essay. The essay would ask you specific questions. So the essay might be saying, okay, tell us something that you have done in the past. If you have been part of a group that did certain things, or if you had the opportunity to have this scholarship, what would you do with it? How are you going to change the world, or what twist are you going to come and bring into this environment, or something like that? So that now depends on you. So there's nowhere where they are just sharing scholarship to say, oh, come on. No, you have to do the work. First of all, you have to apply, get accepted, and then apply for admission, get accepted, and then apply for scholarship. So some scholarships will give you deep discounts. So the school might give you maybe 1,000 or 2,000 discounts. Then you apply for additional scholarship, and that additional scholarship can give you another 5,000 to 6,000 discounts, maybe for a 13K per year school, right? So if you already have 2,000 plus 6,000, that's already 8,000 of a 13K, right? So you're having like 6,000 to pay as tuition. And some actually give you full discount. So it depends on the school. It depends on the course, right? School, course, and your ability to apply. What we can do is, when there's opportunity for this and you've gotten your scholarship, then we can help with the visa application, because that can be a bit complicated. And regardless of whether you have scholarship or not, if your visa application is not done well, then you are going to get rejected. They don't care if you got scholarship or not. Another way you can get scholarship is to get scholarship from Nigerian bodies. So you have certain scholarship bodies in Nigeria that give, especially in the Niger Delta region and some in the northern parts of Nigeria. So Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, those places, they give a lot of scholarships, right? So if you are from those regions, and you stay in Lagos or you don't stay in that particular region, you need to start communicating with your family members and friends that stay there. You need to start looking for, okay, when is it open? When can I apply? And how can I get accepted, right? So you can actually get it from Nigeria. Then there's the Sherving scholarship. There are some scholarships that open periodically, but this will be limited to people who have a first class or a 2-1. So unfortunately, 2-2 and people that have lesser than a 2-2 might not be eligible for this scholarship. So I hope the person that asked the scholarship question is still here to actually hear what I have just said. Unfortunately, we do not help source for scholarship. However, when one or more of our schools have certain scholarship opportunities and we have students who we know qualify, we inform you beforehand. The first thing is you need to first of all have all your documents, make an application, get accepted into the program. Then we can tell you, oh, there's a scholarship available. Would you like to apply? So that can give you further discounts or can even take off most of your tuition, if not all of your tuition. So that's how we come in this place. And then, of course, we handle the visa application as well. Okay. I just hope he's still here so that he could have answered me. So scholarship is something you can do on your own. Just go to Google. If you have a very lucrative course, if you have a very lucrative course, or you have experience in an area that they are looking to sponsor, then of course we've treated a lot of people that came to us for visa application who had scholarships and they got it themselves by applying and then going through the application process. So let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so I'm just going to do a summary because I think we've actually overshot our timeline. We're supposed to be finishing by 5:30 and it's almost 6 here. So for people who want to go to the UK, first of all, you need to realize that many people deciding to go study abroad is not because they want to come back to Nigeria. Let's just be truthful. You want the opportunity to be eligible to work abroad. Might not necessarily be in the UK, but at least become internationally appealing. So that once you're done with your school, Ireland might be calling you, Germany might be calling you, Netherlands might be calling you, the US might be calling you, Australia might be calling you, France might be calling you. Why? Because you have acquired skill sets that are very in demand in the job market, right? So there are some skill sets that are in demand across board, right? And then there are some skill sets that are specific to certain locations based on the industries that are in those locations or in those countries. So first off, of course, is technology and IT. It's blowing everywhere. And IT, I think IT has always been important, for the last 50 or so years, right? And over the years, the importance has been growing and growing and growing. But I would say within the last 2-3 years, immediately Corona hit, and then after Corona, it has been growing exponentially. Why? Because that period of 1 year when everybody had to sit at home, nobody was able to do anything. A lot of minds started thinking about ingenious ways to, carry out services, offer products that humans would need without actually having to do the work, which is actually a bad thing in my opinion. Okay, but a lot of minds started thinking. And immediately Corona ended, we saw a lot of technological advancements spring up. So much so that what has sprung up between after Corona and now, it's maybe times 10 compared to what has even happened in the last 45 years. Like, we have grown so much. Now, what is fueling this? What's fueling this is the people who are learning technological skills and who are applying these skills in various industries. So this cuts across industries, in manufacturing, in healthcare, in services, in hotel chains or hospitality, across board, everywhere, travel, logistics, airlines, whatever. Now, the more these solutions are coming, technology solutions are coming in, the more they require people who can actually handle the solutions, who can actually work with it. And that is why IT is now very much in demand and is across board, especially when you're talking about AI, data science, AR, augmented reality, Internet of Things. Now everything is practically connected to the internet. Your TV is connected, your fridge is connected, your microwave is connected, your wristwatch is connected, your clock is connected. They have mirrors that are connected. There are mirrors, you look at yourself and it tells you your body weight. It tells you the parts that you have. It tells you who is here. Let me just cut the call because I'm using my phone here. So who is this? Okay, I think the person has gone. So you have mirrors that can tell. You have doors that has Internet of Things. You have security doors where if you don't put your fingerprint, it doesn't allow you in. If it doesn't scan your iris, it doesn't allow you in, right? You have tables that, every single thing you can think of today can actually have Internet of Things. So they are looking for people who can, produce or who can actually work in places that they've already produced it. So there's a lot of job in this aspect, not just even in the West, even in Asia. A lot of people now get opportunities in Japan, in Korea, in Singapore. Of course, for Singapore, they might not actually take you if you're Nigerian and on a Nigerian passport because we've been blacklisted, our brothers and sisters. But there are lots of opportunities there anyway. So there are opportunities everywhere. Okay. So you have healthcare and life sciences. This is the second most important aspect. Very, very important. Almost any aspect in health, right? I don't think that one is more important than the other because they all have their place in the health sector. Now, there might be more jobs available for some particular fields than others. That's the difference. But I don't think one is especially more important because even when a doctor wants to diagnose you, he needs to run some tests and somebody needs to actually carry out those tests that knows how to use the equipment. The doctor doesn't know how to use the equipment. So a medical lab tech person is as important as a doctor in this case, but they probably need 15 doctors in one department and 1 or 2 medical lab tech. So the opportunities might be limited for some areas than others, but they're all important. And as I'm talking to you, they are all my slide is no longer showing. They are all in demand, all in demand, up down to paramedics, down to who is sharing, and I can't see the screen anymore, please. Down to paramedics, down to first responders in an accident scene, down to nurses in old people's home, in kids hospitals, doctors. They're all important, right? So any medical degree or any medical field you're interested in, just know what you want to do at the end of the day, and you're going to have the ability to go to any country, not just in the UK. Once you're done, you're going to be in high demand. I might not be able to vouch for Nigeria, but of course, you're going to be in high demand in other Western countries or more developed countries that actually need these services. So the screen is no longer on. So I actually do not have what to look at, but I'm just going to go use what I have in my head. So the next I'm going to talk about business. Lots and lots of businesses are springing up and they need people who have experiences in all aspects of business, in administration, in finance, in marketing, in so it's engineering, in marketing, in leadership, in so many aspects. So going to read a course in business is actually a very lucrative thing. However, you need to be careful. Why? Because a lot of people go for courses in business because it's the easiest, right? And it's the one that has the most people that are eligible for. So you can come from any field. You can come from medical field, engineering field, business field, education field, and you can read a business course. So what that does is that there's more supplied and demand, right? Doesn't mean that there is no demand for it, but there are just way more people that are going for it because it's easier to enter than for the amount of jobs that are available. So if you're going for a business course, you need to know why you're going for a business course. People that have issues finding opportunities after they finish business courses are people who do not have a plan and who do not go into it with their senses, right? You don't just go reading a business course for the sake of reading a business course. You need to look at where the gap is, look at your current experiences, where they lie, and then read a business course that is specific to that particular field. So you can find, instead of going to read an ordinary business administration, you can read business administration with a focus on finance in the health sector. It's such a specific program that, with that specialized knowledge, you are going to be able to find a job because you have narrowed it down. Business administration as a whole, big subject, in special focusing on finance. So you have narrowed it down to finance, but not just finance in any sector. You have now drilled it down to be in only the health sector. So you can actually give a lot of help and solutions to businesses that are in the health sector. So it doesn't only have to be hospitals. It can be pharmaceuticals. It can be insurance companies that give health insurance. It might be pharmacies. So there's a whole line of chain. It can be holistic health care practices. People that do holistic care, people that do massages. It can be fitness centers. They're all under health. But how do you help them maintain finance? How do they get finance? How do they manage their finances? How do they expand? How do they seek for funds? How do they get cut across other countries? That's what you go and learn. And that's what is going to set you apart from the crowd. So yes, you're a business person, but you're a business person with a specialization. So this can be for anything. So you can go read business, focus on logistics, but logistics in what? Right. For shipping alone. Just narrow it down to shipping and know that, oh, I'm eligible because I have specialized knowledge in this area. So that is the way you can set yourself apart. So there are jobs. Don't go read something generic and then just be like every other person. Read something specific so that they are calling out for you specifically. Then, of course, there's engineering. Engineering goes hand in hand with IT because lots of the things under engineering is now is advancing technology and all that. Now, for manufacturing, we know that it has to do with engineering, but all the processes, all the aspects of extraction, modification, refinement, whatever you name it, has all been mechanized in a way that technology has taken over. So you need to merge both technology, IT, and engineering if you're actually thinking of standing out in the engineering space, because just like jobs are opening up in engineering firms, engineering opportunities, so it is also so that people are losing jobs in these areas. So companies are cutting down, companies are laying off. Why? Because it's people that are already there do not have the skills that is necessary for the next phase for that company. So what you are going to do is to go and skill up, right? So that you are now eligible for these jobs. They are there. They just need you to be skillful to be able to take them over. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. Is there a next slide? Okay, so if there's no next slide, I think one other very important aspect that isn't here is education. Education, oh my goodness. Why people do not understand how lucrative education is. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something so out of this world. It can be for a specific reason. Oh, you want to teach English? Go read something that can give you that qualification to teach English. Do you know the amount of countries that are looking for English teachers? Do you know the amount of... So imagine going to the UK to teach English as a second language, right? You have a master's in that. Do you know how many people are looking for those tutors in Germany, in France, in Japan? They pay bastard money. In China, in Korea. Do you know the amount of people that are looking for people that have that skill? In Mexico. Do you know people that even just do ordinary certifications online? they do this, they do a certification on that, write the exam, pay some $100 or $200, and they get the certificate. They are using it to get jobs. Imagine you not having a master's in that particular field, or maybe a BSc if you're here for BSc, right? It just sets you apart. So there are some careers that people don't look at, because you, first of all, you don't read the job market to see what is in demand. Everyone is going to read the same old thing. When you come out, how many of you can actually get absorbed into the workforce? So you need to set yourself apart, look at what is actually out there, and that's what you should now go and skill up in order to become eligible and become desirable. So education is really a big one for children, for different subjects, for secondary schools, for master's level, for whatever it is in the educational sector. It is very lucrative. So think about what you want to do, especially for people who already have education as a first degree. Then your opportunity to be able to skill up with this, and then open yourself to a lot of opportunities. Now, for people who maybe have French, German, Chinese, maybe you read it in Nigerian school and you want to go for a master's in this, you're also very sought after, right? Very sought after. You just need to know how to present yourself to the people that are looking for you, and then you'll be sought after everywhere. So I don't want to take too long, and it's 6 o'clock. So now maybe we can use 5-10 minutes to ask questions if we still have people that have questions, and then we can end this live. So apologies once again for the hiccups and going off, and then a lot of people not knowing that we're still continuing, but they will get the opportunity to get this video once it ends. So do we have questions? So it has come to an end. Can you take it to the last slide? Oh, I have one more slide. Okay. All right. So for people who are looking to go to the UK, there are several opportunities, right? I'm not going to use this slide. For you to go to the UK. So, for you to stay back in the UK. So the first obvious one is you study. You get 1 year of study, or you get 3 years or 4 years if it's an undergraduate program. Then you have your postgraduate work permit. So on a master's level, you get 2 years to stay back in the UK. I think on a undergraduate level, you get 1 year. So with this postgraduate work permit, you can gain relevant experience in the UK, in your field, or in a related field. And what this does for you is it increases your chances of being able to get a work visa, a tier 2 visa. Now, with a tier 2 visa, you can change your status from a postgraduate work visa, which is only valid for 2 years. After 2 years, 2 years after your program, you have to leave. But you can get a work visa while you're on these 2 years, and then change into a work visa, a tier 2 visa. And with this, you are able to stay back in the UK on a work visa. And then if you spend 5 years on a work visa, you are able to get your indefinite leave of stay, which is valid for 10 years. And within that 10 years, you're able to apply for citizenship. So you're on your way to becoming a British citizen. Now, they also have other types of visa. They have the youth mobility. They have the tech visa. So for people that are in tech, it's something that you can want to do, especially when you can, while you're studying something in tech, you want to start practicalizing, having evidence of the things that you have done or you can do. And the good thing is that you still have the 2 years after study to be able to do certain things and then become eligible to apply for the tech visa. The youth mobility program, if you have something that you can do, and you want to do in the UK, either from outside or whether you're in the UK, you can apply for that. So these are for people that are skillful and they are youths, right, that want to come and work in the UK. So you also have the health visa, the care visa. These are for people who want to have opportunity to, or want to work with old people, people with disabilities, maybe children, depending on the opportunity that you have. You can actually get a care visa, and a care visa can give you a 3 to 5 years work visa, and on that you can become eligible for your permanent residency. Then you can also get the healthcare visa, which is different from care. Care is for caring for people, not necessarily medical. So if you're in the medical, you also have another pathway that is particularly for you in that regard. So there are lots of pathways. The first thing, of course, is to have a legitimate reason why you're in the UK and something that gives you the ability to work. As long as you're working and you're strategic, you know what you're doing, you're going to be able to qualify for any of these pathways I've just mentioned, and then increase your length of stay in the UK. But most importantly, is that you are now going to be like a global citizen, because with skills like this, you're eligible to actually move to several other countries. So if the UK is not your liking, you have the US, you have Canada, you have Australia, if you're very keen on English-speaking countries. But if you're not so hell-bent on English-speaking countries and you're open to learning other languages, then you have loads and loads of countries that you are eligible to go to. So you're not tied down. But of course, if you want to come back to Nigeria to work or start up a business, that's also an option that is open for you. So I think with this, we've actually come to the end of this presentation, right? Okay, so you can move to the next slide. If we have questions, please go ahead. Thank you. If we have questions, please go ahead and ask. Okay, so thank you for your insight. You're welcome. Please, I have a bachelor's BSc Agric, but I want to switch to education. Can I be offered admission into master's program? Yes. Well, to go on into education, it is in the UK, usually they prefer people that have a degree in education. But if you can show where you have maybe taught, because what they consider is your BSc or your previous study and then your work experience. So if your previous study has not been in line, then your work experience can actually come to your rescue. Okay, so what you want to do is focus heavily on your work experience, especially if you've been able to gather 1 or 2 certificates, one teaching certificate here, one teaching certificate there, and you're able to get a reference from a school or a program or anywhere that you have actually taught. Yes, you can go into education, and it now depends on what type of education you want to go into, which pathway, which particular one you want to focus on. You might not be able to go into maybe education for kids now because you maybe need to have previous experience. Maybe you need to have previous experience, but sure, you can go into education, giving the right guidelines on your application. My apologies for the noise. Come. All right, so I hope I answered your question. Okay. Okay. Do we have any other person that has a question before we end? Okay, so please, what about LLM? Yes, we can hear you. Who was asking about LLM? All degrees are available, right? They're available as long as you have the prerequisites undergraduate qualification, then yes. So there are some degrees that you can't study law if you don't have a law degree, right? So you can't go into maybe a core engineering degree if you don't have a master's, if you don't have an engineering BSc, or go to some medical courses. So these are courses that require you to have gotten some qualifications prior to you coming for a master's. So for LLM, as long as you have your degree, and then that's fine. We can apply for you depending on what you want to study. There are different focuses that you can actually study, or you can actually focus on, and we can look for the perfect school that delivers that particular exact thing that you're looking for. And why not? We can actually do that. So this is Borta, right? This is Borta. Okay. So do we have any more questions? My colleagues will be reaching out to you to find out if you need any assistance, if you're looking to actually go on with study, or you have more specific questions that have not been addressed in this meeting, then you can address it with them. Okay. Also, you can reach us on any of our platforms on Instagram, Twitter, on TikTok, on our website. You can find our address. We're in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and Ghana. We have our phone numbers, we have our emails, we have every single information that you require if you want to get in touch with us. So we offer free consultation for UK, Canada, US, Ireland, and Australia, and even to Europe. So if you have questions that are bordering on all this for yourself or a family member or your child, then please feel free to come to us, and then we are going to be glad to answer your questions. Okay. So thank you everyone for coming, and apologies once again for the mishap. Till next time, it's a bye from us at Nexi. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Rosalind.
Bye, everyone.